late morning in North Hollywood. That's right. You are getting our Oscar picks for the year. These are what we think are the best films, not those Hollywood bigwigs of 10 minutes south of us. No, the people.
What do they know?
Yeah, the real film folk.
We
Joining
invited Rachel Zegler. She's not showing up, but we invited
I gave her a +1. She could bring whoever she wants.
Yeah, she decided to not come hang out, but
yeah.
she could have.
But you know who did show up? It's Hollywood Dan Murrell. Hey man, welcome back. Woo!
We're transcontinental, baby. Woo!
Yeah.
You know him, you love him. And aside, I won't give out your actual address and location, but where can the people find you on the internet these days?
Thank you. I appreciate that. YouTube.com/Dan Murrell Movies. Get ready if you like this Oscar talk. I got a bunch. I've been trying to track down these shorts because this year I'm finally going to watch everything. And like, there's these shorts there's like 2 or 3 of them. You just can't find them.
Yeah.
And this is like, I mean, let's be honest here. No one's going to be looking for these shorts beyond this week. I mean, this is like peak availability time. And it's like, all right, I guess.
You're going to have to track down the mothers of the people who made them because they're probably the only ones who have a copy.
Okay, they used to. There was a time when there would be like limited theatrical runs. They would do like the program,
right?
Of, like all the nominated shorts. But I always thought that because they used to do that in like the 90s and the early aughts, that eventually that would come to streaming. Like Hulu would make the deal. Like, we're going to just put up a menu of like, here's where to go watch all the Oscars. Like, why doesn't that happen? It feels like that should happen.
I don't know. Like, it happened as little as a few years ago, but now it's like they do them in theaters and like, that's it. So I've been
HBO Max will get one and maybe Netflix will get one, but they're all spread out. And you have to go hunting for
them. And we're off to a fascinating start, folks. Yes.
This is what you get when you bring Dan Murrell on the show. We're talking Oscar shorts and only Oscar shorts.
Where do we find the avant-garde animated shorts this year, Dan?
Yeah, it's going to be that kind of episode. Today, we are going to narrow things down to, I believe, just 5 in every category of the main ones, the heavy hitters, not the shorts. Get that? It's not even on the televised broadcast anymore. We're talking best supporting actor and actress, best actor and actress, director and picture. Plus, if you stick around to the end, you'll be rewarded with a Fandom Entertainment decoder ring. And we are going to reveal some personal fun categories that we all made up ourselves that we think should be in this year's Oscars. Yes. So we'll get to that. But let's just dive right in. I think, are starting with supporting actor, if I recall. And these were our amalgamated list of picks. And 1 star equals 1 vote. I believe we need to get to 3 for a majority to put somebody in. And right off the bat, we've got Troy Kotsur in Coda, also an Oscar frontrunner, and 1 for us as well. So we did it, folks. We agree on something.
What do you know?
So I think
I was the lone holdout because that's 3 votes. That means I was the only one who did not get
one. What do you have?
And look, Code is one of those movies that's like, I liked it. I thought it was a good movie when I watched it. Like when Apple first put it up, and it was like a Sundance hit. And I was like, what a nice, heartwarming movie. I enjoyed it. And then I like never thought about it again.
Now, the point of the other point of this episode is just so we can talk about other movies we like and things that you may have missed and celebrate films of the past and present. And I put in Ferdia Walsh-Pilo in there. Love that name. Because I wanted to just, I just wanted to, since Dan is on, I wanted to reminisce. Hey, how good was Sing Street? That's the guy from Sing Street.
That is the guy from Sing Street. I was watching Coda and I was like, it's the guy from Sing Street. That was fun.
Yeah, that was really
just
fun.
Now put that together. I did not put that together until just this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will. So I'll just start talking and then everybody butt in and make the case for your own picks if you think anybody deserves to be in there. But I also wanted to give a nod to Lambert Wilson in Benedetta. As Lon and I talked about earlier, we were like, who is that guy? Oh my God, that's the Merovingian. That's the Merovingian.
I feel like everybody has their moment. Like, at what point in the Benedetta runtime do you put together that this evil papal representative is the Merovingian?
Yeah, I love that.
It took me like a scene and a half before I was like, Merovingian.
I had that same moment in Matrix Resurrection.
I was just about to say that. Yep.
Oh yeah, well, right. There's also where he looks a little different.
So I give him an extra point just for being the Merovingian, but also, it was such a great evil papal nuncio. And,
good nuncio.
he gives great nuncio. There aren't too many other places where we can tip our cap to this movie, so I wanted to throw him in there. I really enjoyed that villainous papal performance.
One that I was surprised that I apparently am the only vote for was Vincent Linden in Titane. Did you guys? Is that
I haven't seen it. I saw it's on a lot of your guys' list.
It's quite a movie.
It's quite a movie. Like I don't know if your mileage may vary. It's a very weird movie. I really enjoyed it, but there's a lot of the controversial, shocking, divisive, weird content is up front. And then eventually the movie morphs into this kind of heartwarming story about found family. And it's Vincent Linden and this young woman that he sort of takes in, who's been deceiving him about the nature of their relationship. But by the end, like, he really sells it as this like lost guy who just needed a connection and needed someone in his life who was in all of this pain. And then this relationship, like, even though it's very dysfunctional, and ends up working for him. But I thought it was really powerful. Like that beyond all the weirdness of that movie, that performance really is really grounded. And that's what makes it, I think, work, despite all the craziness of the first half.
Yeah, it's on a lot of people's top film lists. I think some of you put it in for Best Picture, and I got to check it out. Thank you for the recommendation.
That is also, I believe, on Hulu right now. If you are curious to check out from
I think
the director of Raw.
Corey Ross says Titane slaps. So there you go. That's all I need to hear. That something slaps, and I will watch it. Does anybody want to?
Yeah, I mean, like for our adult viewers. So not put the kids to bed for Titane.
Gotcha.
That's what I would say.
I imagine that this was Lon and I who put Affleck's Bostonian Noble up there for last. Does anyone want to put us over the top?
I would happily endorse Ben Affleck in that film.
Oh my God, Count Pierre, one of the great Affleck turns of all time, Count Pierre.
All right, well, if we've already got 3, I'm not wasting one of my votes.
Okay, fine. Fair.
Yeah,
but yes, I think this was one of the most fun, over the top, ridiculous, but also effective performances, because in a movie where I think intentionally it was trying to draw parallels to our present moment, being like, oh yeah, there's douchebags in power in medieval times who are it's just like who your bros are is as important as any law and order or anything like that. I think that was very effective and took me out of the movie in a good way, rather than Matt Damon, who took me out of the movie in a weird, strange, discomforting way.
Ben Affleck, there's a scene where Ben Affleck turns a certain profanity, perhaps one that you will hear more common in the UK than here. Yeah. He turns that one word into a sentence, and it's beautiful. I would happily endorse Affleck. I will also speak. This will be the only time in this show probably where you will hear me advocate strongly for something having to do with Licorice Pizza. Not that I dislike the film; it just wasn't on my list of favorites. However, I must say, I think that Bradley Cooper has the best 10 to 15 minutes of screen time of anybody in any movie, maybe in any year, but definitely of 2021. So I would advocate. I put Bradley Cooper on there. I think that he is so good.
You know what? I did not put one of my votes behind it, but I agree. There were 2 performances. We'll talk about the other one when we get to supporting actress. There were 2 performances in this movie that I'm sort of with Dan. Like, I liked it. I didn't love it. It's not among my favorite PTAs, but there are 2 performances in it that are hilarious and so like both cartoony and real at once. And one of them was Bradley Cooper. So
this was cinematic cocaine. I think it was fun. Yes. It was scary. I couldn't blink. I think we put him through.
I again, same boat. I liked it better than I thought I would. I will definitely say that. As I've said, the age gap was a hard thing for me to get around, especially at the end. I feel like I was kind of okay with it until like the very end, but because the movie is it's this exploration. It's a little meandery. That scene felt like the most focused of all of them in the movie. And it's all has to do with Bradley Cooper. Again, not going to waste a vote because we got 3. So
there you go.
Yeah, you're playing the game smart, Danielle.
You're
just sitting back. You're letting all of us, throw our votes, and then you're going to come in like a viper and strike efficiently.
He's a great nemesis for Gary Valentine. Yeah. Like a lot of this movie, Gary Valentine is just trying to figure things out for himself. And then here's an opportunity. We get one segment where he's really got like a direct rival. Like,
that was great.
this person, and
like a horror villain, like coming back when he's walking.
Yeah, no, it's very fun.
Yeah, he winds up being like one of the only people who gets to chip at like that confidence that Gary Valentine has. Like he gets that, I forget the French term, but that the spirit of the stairs. He's like, yeah, this is what I would have done.
Yeah,
when he turns into every like,
the staircase wit.
Yeah, right.
It sounds better in French.
And that's, to me, like what I think would have put Licorice Pizza over the top for me was if Gary felt like like there were more challenges to his like can do it all supremacy. Like it felt like we needed more obstacles in his way in some way.
Billy Amini Usman writes, no Willem Dafoe. I assume that's for
No
Goblin. Yeah,
I will say after watching it,
he's great in Nightmare Alley too.
He's great in Nightmare Alley too.
Card Counter. Yeah.
I will say after rewatching No Way Home, I do think there's a kid. That's the one Oscar nomination I could see giving to that movie. Well, not Best Picture maybe, but like Dafoe really is giving 120%. Like it is a great comic book over the top villain turn, and the physical transformation he does from Norman Osborn to like the Gob, like it, like he does. It's a practical effect. Just his face transforming.
Yeah, it reminds me that
I can see that.
That GIF has been going around of when in Superman that when he goes from being like Clark Kent to like Superman, and people are like, that's like the best effect in the movie. That's the same as what Dafoe does with his like voice and with his mannerisms.
Yeah, I'd give it to the transformation.
I'd give it to him over Garfield. I liked, but again, Garfield is so well. They're both banking on your affection for past performances. So it's
true.
Like,
I don't know. To me, those are the two standout performances, but I would probably go with
that. But we're at a stalemate. I mean, everything else has one vote. Does anyone want to campaign for?
See, because I don't think enough people did. Three of us even see Zola?
Yeah. I mean,
I was thinking about putting Coleman Domingo up. That would not upset me. I thought all four central performances in Zola rule. Like they're all great. I would be happy to see any of the main Zola cast getting up there. So you've got no argument for me. And he's also doing like,
he was really good. I was thinking the Succession guy, but he's better. Coleman's better.
He's playing a character, and then we watch him like drop the character and turn into his actual self, and then put the character back on. And he's like switching up the whole movie and making it feel really like scary and not cartoony, and that's hard to do.
Especially in such a movie that can veer into cartoonishness,
right? But like when he drops it and just you get the real voice, and he's just like, "No, you're doing this thing." Like it's funny.
All right.
Like
it's You talked me into it.
I was gonna say Jeffrey Wright in The French Dispatch was another one of my very favorite performances this year. But
I want to reward that movie somewhere, but I didn't know where.
So.
Maybe most Wes Anderson.
Definitely a lot of Wes Anderson. That was an incredible amount of Wes Anderson.
But that was my favorite segment.
He shouldn't be penalized for being himself. Because I don't know, I imagine he's just getting better, I think, at the one movie he makes. And this was like
nothing wrong with having a point of view.
Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, like it's Wes Anderson, but he is also like, it's a lot of French films and filmmakers that he's kind of alluding to. Like it's also him integrating himself with like Jacques Tati's style and French New Wave. There's a lot going on in the movie. It's just like,
all right.
It's all in a very insular Wes Anderson style and world.
Yeah.
I would speak up for two of my other picks, which are Woody Norman and Come On, Come On, which was a very underrepresented film in general. Yeah. And I think he gets discounted because he's a kid, but he's great. And also Jason Isaacs in Mass, which is not a very widely seen movie, but he is fantastic in that film. So
yeah,
those are my two requests.
Super heavy.
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna go ahead and champion for. I believe I was the one that put the Plemons for Power of the Dog.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought that was a great performance, but also I'm very biased towards Jesse Plemons, so that could be some of my bias coming through.
As should we all be.
Yeah. How is that profitable for Frito-Lay?
So yeah, I thought that was a great performance. I really enjoyed him. I thought that was one of the standouts. So I think I'm alone on that one. But if you like Power of the Dog, go back and check out what Jesse Plemons is doing because it's really good.
Who gets one more vote? It's definitely not me. I already threw my weight behind.
I voted for Affleck.
So Mega Movie Z is saying, why are you choosing Ben Affleck over Jason Isaacs? Really? and it's like, okay, like I didn't see Mass. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have two more. I have two more votes.
Yeah, I don't get any more
one to
votes.
Jason Isaacs and one to Well, I already threw one to. Well, I guess
We're the Academy. We can make our own
my
rules.
2 votes to Jason Isaacs and Woody Norman. I'm not changing.
And Rhythmatic, they say get Woody Norman on there, and I'm with you, Dan. I think that was that performance almost gets lost in the mix because you have not only an all-time for me performance from Joaquin Phoenix, but you also have like real kids mixed in there, and he's not a real kid. He's playing younger, but it's so believable and so convincing. It's like that awkward preteen moment where you still have that kind of childlike wonder, but you're still pushing against these boundaries. And I don't know, I thought he did an amazing job. The pair of them, I wish you could do like a best ensemble for that film or something like that. But I love that movie, so I have no problem throwing my vote behind Woody Norman and getting come on the board early. Oh, so wow!
I'm going to throw accent work in there too.
Ooh,
let me double check that.
Done. So, you guys okay with that?
I can live with that.
Well, there you go.
I feel good about it.
It's these are our picks. These are awesome. Someone please mock up a professional looking graphic in the next 15 minutes, and we'll put that on screen. But these are our picks: Ben Affleck, Last Duel; Troy Kotsakota; Bradley Cooper, Licorice Pizza; Woody Norman, Come On, and Coleman Domingo for Zola.
Only one. Only Troy Kotzer is in our list and the Academy's list.
Wow. Okay. Well, 1 down, 4 to go. Or 6. I don't know. 5. We'll be here all day if we have to.
4 and then honorary and special awards. Yeah.
Let's move on to supporting actress and see where we line up.
Well, here I'll just jump because we already sort of previewed it. I do want to talk about the other Licorice Pizza turn, Harriet Sansom Harris. She's been in a few other PTA movies.
Yeah, when you reminded me who that was, you're right.
She plays Gary's agent who meets with Alana Haim and tells her she's great, but she has a very Jewish nose like 8 times.
You're a fighter, aren't you?
It's just one of it's the perfect it's a perfect PTA scene. It's the texture of reality. It feels so real. It really feels like a 70s casting agent Hollywood office, but it's incredibly funny as well. Like it's both of those things at the same time. She just absolutely nails it. It's a really great scene.
I'm fine. I think that's what supporting categories are all about.
To me, that's exactly it. The one other one I would really make a strong case for is Park Yu-rim in Drive My Car. She's not one of the performances that I think has been talked about the most. She's the Korean actress who speaks with sign language. And there's like the big dinner scene at her house with her husband where they kind of reveal that they know each other, even though it wasn't revealed. She's amazing. And like, she's like the heart of the big finale, like the emotional climax of the movie, and just absolutely nails it. And I thought she was the highlight of that whole film.
Yeah, I'll throw my vote behind that one. I liked her as well. I thought that she was really great.
Okay. I mean,
I didn't even know that was an element of the movie. I thought it was all this guy and his driver, and then this other sort of subplot kind of really snuck up on me. And I thought,
his uncle Vanya,
and his uncle. Vanya.
I'm fine. I didn't pick a full 5 nominees for supporting actress, so I'm definitely with you on Harriet for Licorice Pizza, and I'll follow you into Drive My Car. Lando, I still haven't seen the finale.
Now, something that may dictate my vote is I see that Jodie Comer here is nominated for The Last Duel. A full disclosure, I nominated her for Best Actress.
So, well, no, I had a full slate. I had a full slate of actors, so I bumped her to supporting just so we could get the acknowledgement in there.
I know. I forgot to put in. That was part of my problem with Cate Blanchett because I wanted to put her in for Nightmare Alley.
Yeah,
and I forgot.
I think Comer is a lead in Last Duel. Personally, I think she's like the main character, basically.
It's tricky.
The final third is her story, and it's the longest one.
It's a third. That's not a main.
Well,
I don't know.
It's broken into 3 parts, but
it's borderline.
the biggest chunk.
Yeah. Tricky.
She's the biggest chunk, Spencer.
She's the biggest chunk.
She's the biggest chunk.
Big chunk.
Big chunkus.
Yeah. So Jodie Comer.
You don't get Jodie Comer to play a small chunk. You get Jodie Comer to play a big chunk.
The main chunk. Yeah.
The main chunk.
Yeah.
Fine. So strike her from support. Put her in the main chunk category.
Put her in the biggest chunks.
And I'll just say I nominated not even going to attempt the name. Belfast. I nominated Belfast. I thought she was great.
I did too. Strangely,
Outlander lady.
Yeah.
Strangely, it's how you would assume people would mispronounce it, which it's just Katrina, but it looks like very complicated, not Katrina.
That's a good rule with Irish names is they try to figure out the easiest way to say them. Because like her co-star for supporting actor, it's just Kieran Hines, but it looks like it's going to be, there's accents on it, whatever, but you just say
Kieran. Okay.
Mance Raider, the Lord of, Mance Raider, the king, King Beyond the Wall.
King in the North.
You mean
not the King in the North, the
King Beyond the Wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, I flushed most of Game of Thrones down.
I was about to say, like, if anyone would know this, it would be you.
No, it's definitely it's out. It's gone.
That makes me really sad.
No, it's happened to. It should happen to all of us. It's not worth remembering. Knowing.
Man, I like a lot. I got really like all of these are good.
I'm gonna go ahead and second Riley Keough.
Oh yeah, she's amazing. She absolutely kills it.
She's really good.
And she's one of those actresses that's great in a bunch of stuff all the time and just like never gets her. Like The Lodge is another example of a movie where she absolutely destroys in that movie. It's just not a movie that people think of as like the best movie of the year, so it doesn't get recognition, but she's fantastic.
I'm cool with that. I will campaign against Kirsten Dunst. I know she's shocking. She's one of my favorite actresses, but I feel like in this role, it was just like, you want something kind of unexpected when somebody takes on a part. And this was just like, I'm playing a drunk. Oh, take my gloves. Like it just seemed very cartoonish and over the top for me.
I want to get to the root of this. It's been nearly a decade of this. I don't know where this comes from, this anti-Kirsten Dunst bias. We've gone round and round on this before.
Well, I've already talked about it. I'm a huge fan of the Dunstan Plemons era. Like, give it to me.
I mean, as people, like, how do you not love Doug Clemens? Like, it's delightful.
I think she was one of my nominees, so I can't support her anymore.
Melancholy is one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm a Dunst head. Dunstan has checked in to this hotel. But I just didn't think this was one of her better.
Did you watch that Unbecoming a God in Central Florida, that Showtime series with her? She was really good.
I started it. I didn't finish it.
You know what? Just to help grease the tracks here, I will switch my support from, let's say, Cate Blanchett, who I thought was great in Don't Look Up, but I'll go over to, if I'm going to give credit to Bradley Cooper, then I'll also go with Harriet Sansom for Licorice Pizza. So I'll put her through there. That's my favorite. It's a very, very good. It's a good role.
I believe Riley Keough has 2 votes because I'm the one who put her on here, and then Danielle seconded. Okay. So I think we may be. Oh no,
we have to strike either Park and Grim, Riley Keough, The Outlander, or Kirsten Dunst.
Or Kirsten. Yeah, I mean, of those 4 performances, I don't know how many votes I do or do not have left, but I would strike Katrina Balfe she was like one of the good performances that was not maybe the standout for me.
I disagree. I felt like she having to hold that family together. I think that the reason that she doesn't get enough credit is because so much of her performance is about kind of maintaining, and then the scenes where she's allowed to show that kind of fear and desperation that she has, I think that she's really great in. So I think that she's a little less flashy. I'll grant you. You know, she's about 40 years too young for the flashy Judi Dench, Kieran Hines roles. But
that's true.
I think that she's a little undervalued.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not moving off that island. But
I'm already on the island. I'm on Balfe Island, so I can't. I'm not leaving.
So my Dunst rant fell on deaf ears. No one's leaving. No one's checking out of Dunstan's hotel.
Well, wait. So I get to. I mean,
I feel like Danielle and Lon, you're the swings here.
I voted for Park, Riley, Ariana DeBose, Harriet Sansom Harris. So yeah, I think I have 1 left here.
I mean, it's tricky because some of us didn't pick a full 5. So really, it's just you, Danielle, you and Lon. Who's out? Who's out of the people with 2 votes?
I mean, if it's up to me, I've given my. So I guess
it's Belfast. So
this is a really difficult one. Oh, yeah, I gotta go with Katrina.
Wow. All right.
I did. I'm gonna go with Katrina, and I love Dunst. I thought it was great. But yeah, I'm gonna co-sign.
No more Dunst. Wow.
Sorry,
Dunst checks out.
Dunst. Wait, no more Dunst. Oh, you're voting
she's
for
going
Katrina.
with Katrina. Yeah.
No, okay, because I thought we were voting to kick somebody off. Okay, great.
No, we're kicking.
Bye.
We're kicking Dunst. Yeah, Kirsten Dunst gets kicked off of Balf Island. That's what we decided. Get the pack her shit and go.
Yeah, don't let the bottle hit you on the way out.
Yeah.
Body your blood.
You rummy. Okay, so we've got our final
Play the
five.
banjo.
There are five.
Aggressively banjoing her way up.
This is a very solid lineup, I think.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with it.
Okay,
I appreciate that we all
didn't
did it. We all
nominate
got it
are
in for Aria.
And again, only one Ariana DeBose.
Is it really just one? Wow.
Our only overlap with the Oscars.
Amazing.
Well, they picked a different Belfast.
Yeah.
Judi Dench got the Belfast.
Yeah. She denches it up pretty well.
I couldn't after the cat sing. I just couldn't.
She
not
stares deep into our soul yet again.
No direct eye contact from Judi Dench.
Not her fault, but
Gotta stop doing that. It's terrifying.
We can't reward it because if we reward it, she'll just keep doing it.
Yeah,
it's true.
Let's move on to Best Actor. Which is a category where we did have some solid agreement, I think.
Yeah, there's some overlap here. Yeah.
Two of them we put straight on through to the finals, which is, if we bring it up shortly, Pig.
Yes.
Pig. Yeah. A clean sweep for Pig.
Best performance of the year. Come
on. Where's my pig?
Jeff Robb, come on.
What an unexpected, subdued but brilliant performance from Nick Cage in like bringing so much gravitas and restraint to a film with the setup of like a goofy Nick Cage John Wick pig movie, but is so much more and so much realer and grounded. Look at that, like a truffle. It's grounded.
And I think that was one suffered from being earlier in the year, much like I think what happened with Zola, and then two, I think a lot of people were ready to go into it like, it's going to be Mandy meets John Wick. It's going to be crazy. And then once they found out it was an actual like subdued, great, like locked in Nicolas Cage performance, they were like, oh, I don't want this. You know?
But I
want it. I loved it.
If I may share a fun Cage story, at the Hollywood Critics Awards ceremony, they were doing the host was doing their warm-up bit. She was great. And so she was doing this thing where she was going through the audience, and it was a "we don't talk about Bruno" thing. She's like, "We don't talk about your secret. What's your secret?" And so she was going to all the people, and like, everyone was giving joke answers, like Eugenio Derbez and Ron Perlman, who was great. But then she goes up to Nick Cage, and she's like, and like I said, it's been a joke so far. She's like, "Oh, do you have a secret? What's your secret?" And Cage literally goes, "Well, not a whole lot of people know this, but I'm having a baby daughter in September." And then he like gives like the daughter's name, and she's like, "Oh,
congratulations!"
We do talk about that. Yeah, it was so great. He's like, He took that as a very sincere moment to share an actual secret that he had not shared with anybody else. It's like, all right, Nick Cage.
Yeah,
Nick Cage.
He is himself. But he does disappear into this one, and
he's good.
It's so good. It's one of my favorites of the year. So yeah, easy win for Nick Cage. Denzel, you can just pencil him in for an Oscar every year, and him doing Macbeth. Like, come on. That's an easy one. There's some maybe less heralded performances I put on here. I loved Oscar Isaac in The Card Counter. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see that earlier this year.
I still need to see that one. Yeah, I have not.
If you've seen like a Paul Schrader movie, it's just like a more thought out version of his wacky Facebook ramblings, but it's really just a absolute brutal, one of the most like cynical, ugly performances. And Oscar Isaac's obviously one of the better actors working today. He plays like a gambler, like a low stakes gambler who wants to fly under the radar and has a background as a torturer at Abu Ghraib. So, bring the kids, super fun, but a absolutely brutal performance. Weighed down only by, it's like a 3-parter, or there's like a 3 main cast members. Ty Sheridan, who is the the Ready Player One guy, and Tiffany Haddish, who I like in a lot of roles, especially comedic. But man, he is putting them on his back and dragging them through this movie.
Sorry, I didn't know the cast of that movie. It's like you picked 3 names out of a hat.
Exactly.
It's a little wild.
I think that that really keeps it from being like one of my best picture picks, but it is his performance that is like so gripping and terrifying that I thought it deserved bringing up here at this year-end list. Joaquin Phoenix.
The one I make a case for. Riders of Justice. Did anybody else see that one this year?
One of my favorite, probably my favorite movie this year for sure.
I love that one, and I thought it's such a great turn. And again, it a little bit like Pig, where you think you're in for one kind of movie, you think it's going to be this. He's the it's
John Wick,
Mod's in his badass mode where he's like this, grizzled ex like army ranger, whatever, special ops. He's going to go on this like mission of brutal revenge. And then the movie takes this really dramatic turn that turns things inward and makes it like a much more sort of dramatic.
It's about friendship, the meaning of life. Like
and he gets so many like weird notes to play, but still in this like Charles Bronson-esque character, like that's the starting place for all of it. And like Nobody with Bob Odenkirk was another cool film this year that sort of took a sort of a side eye at that genre and like the tropes of it and sort of reinvented it. And I thought this one did it, but Nobody is doing it in kind of a fun way, and this is doing it in a very sort of like thoughtful, provocative way. Both great. I thought Mods was a real standout.
Again, a movie that I wish I could give like an ensemble award to, because it's like him and those buddies like make such a fun
group of friends that he's got that are all terrific in their chemistries.
Andrew Garfield seems very close to getting through, and I would just like
I voted for him. Yeah,
he was my pick. He is so good. He's so good in Tick Tick Boom. I'm in the tank for him pretty much across the board because the publicity circuit just ravaged him this year, and he just deserves an Oscar just for surviving 3 different press tours, only none of which, by the way, were about Spider-Man, but which were all about Spider-Man. And still, but that aside, in Tick Tick Boom, like I did not know he was honestly capable of doing all that. Like he's really singing, and he started singing and playing piano like 6 weeks before the movie started or something. He's just like, I'll just learn to do that. I thought I hate him, but I also love him as an actor. I hate him because he's that talented, but I love him because he's that talented.
Also, I gotta say, of all of our Brits doing the American accents, and look, we're not ones to talk because our when we go over there, it is shameful. It is absolutely shameful unless you're Agent Scully. He has one of the best English or American accents of like any of the Brits. It's pretty spot on.
Well, so are you following Dan and I onto Garfield? You no longer hate Mondays?
I put that in. That was one of my originals.
Okay, I voted for him too. So there you go.
Oh, there we go.
Tick tick boom. All right. Well, sweet. So we got 3. We got 2 left. So the other 2 vote getters were Cumberbatch for Power of the Dog. I'm cool. I'm good with that. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I put him on there. I like both of these performances a lot, Will Smith and Ben. I wouldn't be upset to see either of these guys take it, but of the 2, I voted for Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah. I will see. I might make a stronger case for Come On in picture or director, but I do think that this was just such a beautiful acting job out of Joaquin Phoenix, who does this all the time. He plays like emotionally closed off men to varying degrees who either become the Joker. They usually become the Joker in some form or another. But really just seeing like the softest side of Joaquin Phoenix is just like so affecting. And I think he plays like seeing him be very gentle was very, very refreshing and affecting, especially given like what we've seen him do in the past and stuff like Joker and The Master and stuff like that. So I really connected with this one. So that's why I put on. Oh, and Simon Rex in Red Rocket. I mean, the movie lives or dies based on his full frontal assault on you. And I mean, like, again, something that I could leave off here and make the case for in a different category. But
I have to say, like, one thing I like about these is like that's a great performance in terms of I didn't realize this person had anything like this even in that, like, it's a come from out of nowhere and give this incredibly memorable performance. So, like Oscar Isaac, Joaquin Phoenix, Mads Mikkelsen, Adam Driver, Will Smith. These are guys they come to play every time. But when you're seeing Simon Rex carry a movie, there's like a novelty and a shock value to it.
Every time, Lon. Have you seen Wild Wild West? They don't all come to play every time.
Not every time, but like you know what I mean.
I'm
Will
gonna.
Smith did come
I
to play
blame
in King Richard,
direction.
I will say.
I blame direction. Plus, he learned how to do all that gun stuff.
He was more focused on cowboy stuff. I feel like in the James West era.
James,
explain After Earth to me. Well, M. Night Shyamalan.
We
don't have
got to do one for me, one for Jaden, one for me.
And I'm down, Dan. I could join you with Adam Driver for Annette for just being, the word fearless gets thrown around a lot.
I was going to say, if we're definitely not going with Mads, of all the 1-star getters on this list, Adam Driver from Annette, also my pick.
I will put Annette in any category where it's yes, cosign. Just do it. I honestly thought Annette was going to walk away empty-handed. Please, let's. Adam Driver.
His name is Henry
McHenry. I put in both Cumberbatch and Smith, so I will give it to Annette. Yeah,
look at that. Look at Adam Driver squeaking
Adam
in. I feel like I should be jumping around in just a robe.
We all should be.
It's like cliche to say a performance was brave, but for somebody as famous as him to be as like risk looking as stupid, frankly, as he does.
Have you ever sung to a puppet on screen? Adam Driver has
on that set. And like it's like sparks are there, and you're on like a platform that kind of vaguely looks like a ship, and they're singing these insane songs. There's this lunatic Frenchman just barking stuff at you. Like, how do you have to just have total confidence and faith in what you're doing? Like, you just have to go for it.
Okay. So now let's make the case for either Benedict versus Will Smith, mano a mano, King Richard versus Bronco Henry.
These are both great.
2 men enter, 1 man leave. Who's I would lean towards Benedict just as I think it was like a more interesting performance and perhaps more surprising, not just plot wise but performance wise. Whereas Will Smith, like he's doing the thing, the tough love, inspirational mentor figure that I think I've seen a lot, but he does a great job of it. But Benedict, I think it was also just really inspired casting to play him as the guy who's pretending to be a Bronco Henry type. I thought it was really good. But I'm willing to hear the case for King Richard as well.
Yeah, like I said, that this was one, and again, I'm happy with either one of these. I put both of them in originally. That was one, I think I said it yesterday, where it skirts the line where it comes so close to being, sketch comedy, like impersonation, more than someone actually embodying a character. But because Will Smith is good at what he does, he winds up writing that line without going over it.
Yeah.
And that is for me, that is a huge part of why I find this so good.
The fact that you're on, right, go ahead.
Well, no, because like with Jamie Foxx, I feel like his win, he did a great job, but there were moments when it definitely became like, is this a parody? And
I did want to buy Diet Pepsi a couple times during break.
You got the right one, Danny. But yeah, so with this being able to skirt that line and still make it feel believable and grounded is really, 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 really difficult. So that's why I'm going with Will Smith, because I do think that this was a really great job by him.
Also, imagine playing a guy and the guy's daughters are standing like there watching you. Like it's an added. Bronco Henry was not watching Benedict from right off stage.
Yo, maybe that's why he didn't really dig into the voice, because he was like, "Am I just making fun of their dad?"
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Can't do
that's what's confused me so much about this. A lot of this criticism that King Richard has gotten. It's like how they're telling the story, like what about the story of Venus and Serena? It's like they were there. Like if they had a problem with it, I think they would have said like, "Hey, I have a problem with this."
It's like
director whose set I'm on currently. I think I'm going to lean a little bit more towards Smith myself. I think I will also lean a little bit towards Smith. With respect to Benedict Cumberbatch, the accent work is much improved. Yeah, that's a tough choice, right. But I'm leaning Smith.
Okay, I'm leaning Cumberbatch. Dan's leaning Smith. Lon, break this tie.
Wow. I don't think I can because we've got two Smith, and I was going to go for Cumberbatch, but you know what? They're so close. I'm gonna throw it to Smith. I'm gonna change my vote. We're gonna go Will Smith.
Let's give him the legacy award. You know, it's his turn.
Well, no,
you know,
I actually do feel like King Richard may be his best performance. Like I feel like he has reached a new level. It feels like there's a subtlety to it. There's a layered. He's bringing layers to what on the page could I think have been a more one note.
I do think it was better than Ali. I do.
Yeah, and Bronco Henry doesn't care about no Oscars. You keep that fancy pants statue.
I mean, Benny's going to have more chances. We know he's going to have more shots on goal.
Yeah. All right, so there you go. Pig, Denzel in Macbeth, Adam Driver in Annette, Garfield and Tick Tick Boom, Will Smith and King Richard. I think we have 3 in common, right? Garfield, Smith, and Denzel. Well, there you go.
Garfield, Smith, Denzel. Yeah.
There you go. Well, I still hope that everybody watches Riders of Justice, Card Counter, Come On, and Red Rocket. They're all my favorite movies of the year, at least in the top 10. All right. On to the actress category. Lady acting, much different than male acting, as the Oscars have pointed out.
Not comparable, really. Not even comparable.
No. Also, let's respond to some fan questions that have been coming in. Bradley Pooper writes, no Cooper Hoffman or Clifton Collins Jr. I'd be happy to put either of them in. And then John Wright, I thought about this, asked, can we have Bo Burnham? It's not acting.
No. I would have put it in at the Academy. The Academy deemed it ineligible.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the only reason I have not put it up for anything Oscar-wise is because the Academy specifically deemed it ineligible. But I would put it up for a few different things if it were eligible. But it's not.
And if y'all are wondering, audience, there is a list the Academy puts up of all of the films that are eligible.
That's true.
For stuff.
It's like won a few Emmys for it, and then he lost Best Original Song to Agatha All Along, which is a little stupid, but whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
I like Agatha All Along, but
the Jeffrey Bezos song.
I'm sorry, which one had the gift, Dan?
It should have been the Bezos song.
Anyway,
I'd put it up for Best Picture if it were eligible, but sorry. I mean, this is our Academy vote.
I know that they played it in theaters. I know that it had that little theatrical run, which theoretically could qualify, but it does feel more like the kind of thing the Emmys would award to me than the Oscars. Yeah. Like I liked it a lot. It's not a knock on it in terms of quality. I just don't know if it feels like a sort of thing that would be a movie in a traditional sense.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Best Actress.
I will note that there were 2 Kristen Stewarts on here, so I just merged them, but there were 3 total votes. So I didn't
easy. I thought that was her reign of terror continues on I don't know why I called it that, but her reign of being terrified on camera continues, and and she's great. This is a fantastic. I thought this was a really interesting take on a story I think we're all very familiar with at this point. But making it this kind of magical realism horror film about one bad family vacation, kind of Shiva Baby-ish, but British.
A little bit. In its own way.
In its own way. Shiva Baby.
Yeah. So I have no problem putting that through. I voted for it myself. Let's look at the other 2 stars. Jessica Chastain, Eyes of Tammy Faye. I half watched this over my wife's shoulder, so I don't know if I'm fully qualified, but I liked what I saw.
This is one of my votes. I loved Eyes of Tammy Faye so much.
I was the other one.
Yeah, she was fantastic in it.
Yeah, I like this one a lot too. It's the performance. She's amazing. Garfield's great. D'Onofrio's fantastic. It's like it's really not a movie I think that has a tremendous amount of insight into who these people were, but you're in it for these performances, and they are terrific. And she's doing that perfect balance of recreating. Like they posted that her interview with the sort of the AIDS patient that was a sort of a landmark in TV. And there's a side by side of the real Tammy Faye interview and Jessica Chastain, and it's like, no, perfect. She's got the mannerism, she's doing the voice, but it's also a real performance. It's fantastic.
I think that's a huge part of it because the documentary is one of my favorite documentaries. Like I saw it when it first came out, like I think in theaters. I love that doc, and so because that is something I've watched it a million times. Being able to see like her performance really come out in that and like how much work she did. Oh, it was so great. And also go watch the documentary. It's really, really good. It's like what, like 10 years old, 15 years old?
That's all I need to hear. You guys dissuade me. The half of what I watched was very good, and your arguments have put me.
I will also say I was not the person who put this on here, but props to whoever nominated Rebecca Hall for The Night House. Thank you, Dan. One of the year's absolute best performances. She carries the entire friggin' movie on her shoulders. And it's incredible. And it's like the sort of performance that would obviously.
I don't remember this one at all. What was The Night House?
It's a horror film.
It was one of those things that came out in the no man's land in the summer, like after theaters were open, but before anybody went. And it was like gone in like 2 weeks. You probably saw a trailer for it. It's like she's a widow and she wakes up and there's like a ghost in the house and she finds like a reverse version of her own house. It's very kind of.
Do you remember that one, The Ritual, that was on Netflix a few years ago? Like those guys go into the woods for like a bachelor dude weekend, and then they discover this like folk tale presence monster.
I do.
The Swedish woods. It's the same director. It's that director's new one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It was really good. Well, it's got a very cool take on like ghost, like visual way of depicting a ghostly presence in your house. And there's like creepy moments, but it really lives or dies on this incredible Rebecca. She's like the only one in most of the movie. And it's like just her face and her reactions to what she's experiencing. And it's incredible.
Okay. I also, on the horror front, I thought about nominating the lady from Malignant. But then you have to also vote for
Annabelle Wallis, right?
Yeah, Annabelle Wallis, but only if that includes Gabriel as well.
Right. It does.
So I think Olivia Coleman, like, she's now like a kind of an Oscar perennial favorite, but I thought that this was another fantastic performance from her. She can make like just the quiet, mundane moments seem very dramatic. She can just put a lot on her face that she's communicating, and she toes the line very well between like, is this character mean and cold, or is she just British? And I think that again on the bravery front, being able to play an unlikable mother and be the main character of a film is actually really tough to keep you on her side, quote unquote, or at least interested in what she did and why, when she's playing like a kind of morally ambiguous person grappling with the very real push and pull of parenting and how difficult it can be. So I thought this was a great one.
I almost put that on my list. I will go ahead and co-sign that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Take that cosign. I'll just briefly shout out some smaller films that I just kind of wanted an excuse to talk about. Worst Person in the World, I thought was fantastic.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I think that it really is just like, I don't know if it's probably snobbery on my part, or just like not being cultured, but it's like when you take rom-com tropes and filter them through a different country and a different culture, like they suddenly seem fresh. Because I think when this movie is inevitably remade with Dakota Johnson in the US, it's going to be bad. But when it's like a love triangle, but Oslo is like a character in it.
Dakota Johnson is the best person in the world. Coming February 14th. Mark your calendars. Bing.
New York is like a fifth character in the movie.
In this case, it's Oslo. But there was it's really good. I thought if you guys have seen it, like the sequence of where she's basically playing like cheating chicken with a guy she met, where they do like everything intimate except hook up with each other, is like one of the all-time great romantic sequences, I guess, in a fucked up way. So I really like this film. Also, I just have to shout out one that I caught up on recently, Katya Paskariu. I don't know how to pronounce it, but in the film Bad Luck Banging or Looney Porn, available now on Hulu. I think there's an uncensored version, but they have funny like internet pop-ups over the pornographic parts. So, throw it on whenever. I voted for her because she does a great job of mask acting. It takes place during the pandemic at like there's a lot going on in the first 2/3 that you can skip if you want, I guess, because the last third is this extended scene of her. She's a teacher who's had a sex tape released, and she's being confronted by like a PTA meeting of all the parents who are pissed at her. And the amount of acting she does with a mask, with like an N95 on, is really incredible. The amount of judgment and shame and anger and disgust and relief and everything that she can convey just from the nose up, I thought deserved to be talked about and mentioned. But
especially because we do have examples of it like not being great, because there were a lot of TV shows that wound up shooting where people are wearing masks and trying to do mask acting and it didn't work.
It's weird how the definition of mask acting has changed, because when you said mask acting, I was like, oh, so it's in the tradition of the great Greek theaters.
Or Commedia dell'arte.
No, it just means you're wearing an N95 mask.
It takes place during the last 3 years. So
you don't have to do like grand commedia poses. Like it's just
well, if I may speak for Jodie Comer,
sure.
In The Last Duel, such a difficult task, because it's if you haven't seen it, it's kind of like Rashomon in the sense of like it's all about one event and you see it from 3 different perspectives, and like it's easy to lock into the fact that like there's a different quote unquote main character in each one. But Jodie Comer's job is actually a lot more difficult because she subtly changes her performance every time based on whose story it is, and like contributes to this sort of ambiguity. And then it's sort of like the last third, as we were talking about, she's a big chunk actress. That doesn't sound like I meant it. It doesn't mean like it sounded. Scratch that, reverse it. Anyway, she like it. Just the way it all comes together, but like she has to do like the subtle parts, and then Matt Damon and his mullet and Adam Driver get to do like the big, and Ben Affleck get to do like the fun, like showy parts, and she's really, really good. And you know, like I liked Last Duel. I didn't like it as much as a lot of people did. I liked it, but she was so good in that movie.
I snuck her onto supporting actress. So, yeah.
I love Last Duel, and I was the other vote here, and I agree. I second everything Dave.
You're right. I mean, you've talked me into that she had a full chunk part in this movie, so
she's the chunk.
she's the main chunk.
Her reaction shots to the finale of the film are as interesting as what's happening in the film, because it's like
and to echo what Dan was saying, the subtle changes that she makes just in because first we're seeing Damon's point of view, and then we're seeing Driver's point of view, and just the subtle differences in how she plays it, because they see her in different ways, and like they read her behavior in different ways, and her performance is attuned to like, well, I'm being remembered by this man, and here's how he thinks of me, and that's layers to peel, and like in just like a look or a glance or a motion or whatever, and she nails it. It's incredible.
Well, is anyone
and an honorary award for her work in Free Guy as well?
Of course, of course, the Legacy Award.
Millie in Free Guy as well. She adds on
just as equal.
All right, so should we? Where should we tip our final cap to? I mean, Frances McDormand. You can't really argue against.
Yeah, unless anybody wants to like shift their vote over, and I don't feel. I was one of the 2 for Frances, and I stand by for Annie.
Yeah, I was one of the 2 for Frances.
Listen, I will never argue with tipping anything towards Frances McDormand.
Don't fight Lady Macbeth. It doesn't come out well. Yeah. All right, so there's our 5. Let's see. We've got Kristen Stewart, Jessica Chastain. Wow, we've got
3. Just 3. Coleman, Stewart, Chastain.
Yeah. Coleman, Stewart, Chastain. Okay, so a lot of overlap in our Best Actor and Best Actress categories, but I'm glad we got to talk about bad luck banging or loony porn on an SJU. So,
and The Night House. Watch The Night House.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I put Marlee Matlin. She's more of a supporting, but I know that she didn't have a shot, so I just wanted to get a chance to talk about her.
Yeah.
I thought that she did a great job. I love Marlee Matlin. I've been a fan since West Wing.
Nice.
Sure. An institution, Marlee Matlin.
An institution, yeah. So we move on to director now, where I think we have one no-brainer that for some reason, who does the Academy think directed Dune?
No one, apparently.
Josh Brolin had thoughts on this. I don't know if you saw it. Josh Brolin had very severe thoughts on this.
Okay.
Who does this European guy think he is? He can go to a sandy planet like Arrakis? No.
I'm from Portland.
I was raised in the deserts with the Fremen, my friend. And let me tell you, we don't need no fancy pants Europeans coming in here telling us how to direct our people.
No, did you see that Brolin had like a whole rant on Instagram about like this exact thing, like, who do they think made Dune if they don't want to nominate Denis? very, very up in his, I
love Southerners saying Denis. That's great. And then Jane Campion, that's kind of an
Yeah.
automatic sail
He's
through.
Jane Campion.
Yeah.
I just realized I forgot to put in my best director. Oopsies.
Whoops.
But that's cool because most of them are on here. I wanted Hamaguchi, so go ahead and put me second star for that one.
And it started Hamaguchi.
Yep.
Stars.
And then I wanted Bravo, so go ahead and put a
Well,
star
there
on
you
that
go. I was
one.
gonna say for me,
Wait,
Zola.
there were two Zola votes. for that
I
one?
put Zola.
Yep.
I was like,
you
if I'm going to
got
give anything to Zola, it's
warming-
got to be directing.
warming the cockles of my heart
Yeah.
with this Zola
Mhm.
support.
Yeah.
I
You gotta see
thought I was
Zola.
going to be the lone Zola voice here.
Super
And then
fun,
one for
amazing
Nightmare
looking
Alley.
at Nightmare Alley.
Ooh,
Okay.
yeah. That was I was the other one for that one.
Okay.
Listen, it's
So that's what was that? 1, 2,
That's
3.
four.
I said Ridley Scott.
All right. Great.
And then no, I did Tick Tick Boom. So those were the ones. that I was
Wow, look at
going
that.
to.
Oh, look at that.
Okay. So we have 2 slots left.
Yeah.
To me, Last Duel was a directing shoe-in more so than a performance one, just because, like you said, Dan, that he was able to kind of tell the story 3 different times and then cap it all off with like one of the better action sequences of the year to me. So I think I love historical epics. I want Ridley Scott to get to make his Napoleon movie. So that's why I'm campaigning for The Last Duel. I could also, scale back my backlash to the backlash of Hamilton and just recognize that Lin-Manuel had a great year with Tick Tick Boom and Encanto. And I thought that this was an excellent job, and he resisted the urge to put himself in the film, which I really think deserves commendation. So
it would have been so easy to throw himself into the Broadway Legends scene.
Yes.
In that dynamic.
Oh my
The fact that he did
God.
not do it.
Kept waiting to see where he was. Like
Sitting
where's
next to
the-
Felicia Rashad
the
was
Piragua
was incredible.
cart being pushed down the street outside, but no, it doesn't.
So
happen.
people pointing out in the chat though, Rahul Lula, no Spielberg. I would be happy to put in Spielberg. I don't know why I only
know,
had 5
Spielberg
and
was
assumed somebody
great,
else would
yeah.
vote for him.
Weird.
Yeah, I
think
it
we
was,
all
that was
did.
part of it. I think
And
we
then-
all assumed the
I
other.
think we
folks who
did
put
all
him up-
assume that
and it was
everybody-
also, I mean, to me, the one or the 2 that would be super obvious there would be if Janusz Kaminski, if we were doing cinematography, Janusz would be my number 1 choice, and then production design. I think also that film is a
Editing.
shoe in.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And Mega Movies ES, where is Julia Ducournau? She should not only be nominated for Titane, but she should win. So any regrets on not putting in the director of Titane?
No, I really like that movie, but no, I don't think it was like the best directed of the year.
Gotcha.
I just liked it. It was
I
honestly
liked
the
it.
screenplay I probably would go for before.
I
the
admired
direction.
it, I would say. It was one of those movies where I watched it, I was just like, okay, I could see that.
Yeah.
Maybe not for me, but I admire it. I
I-
admire
yeah.
I admire the boldness, the unapologetic nature of that film. Yeah.
It takes you on a real journey that's very unexpected, and yet that still like earns every step of the way, I think. And so to me, that's the real success of it. And it's like a performance and a screenplay thing more than direction. But it's great. I liked it. So I wouldn't say no. Just wasn't
Okay.
one of my top 5.
Well, with Danielle and I campaigning for Last Duel and Tick Tick Boom, and I guess Nightmare Alley, of those 3, or make another case.
Yeah, I guess I could move my 1 vote off of Hamaguchi to one of the other 2 stars.
They also Hamaguchi also has 2 stars. So I
Yeah,
guess
I mean,
it's
to
anybody's
me-
game.
To me, Hamaguchi was like these other 3 were the 3 that I voted for. Dune, Zola, Power of the Dog. So my only 4th one was Drive My Car, which I think it's sort of deceptive because it's only a few locations and it's like similar kinds of sequences over and over. So you're like, what the hell did this guy do? But building to these kinds of climaxes over the course of this long a time and having these emotional payoffs is not an easy thing to do. And the pacing and the control and the patience of it is remarkable.
I'll endorse Hamaguchi because I even did this when I was talking about the best of the year. Drive My Car sounds like you made it up. It's like one of those things you throw off, just like, oh yeah, I'm sorry I didn't make some 3-hour movie about a widower grieving while putting on a stage production of Uncle Vanya, but I do real studio movies. Like, but that's actually a movie, and like he somehow made it interesting. And like, yeah, all right, I'll co-sign Hamaguchi.
Okay.
Just for the sequence with the cigarettes and it's a beautiful move.
And now I've been informed by chat that Lin-Manuel did put himself into that scene, so I am taking away my vote.
We missed him.
I was really looking.
Missed him.
I was really looking too.
He was the chef in the diner, according to Kevin Knows 360, Adam Hulbert. They're all pointing out. Kabir Chitra. Also, Adam Hulbert asked, I think David Lowery for Green Knight is worth considering. I didn't put Green Knight in anywhere, but I did enjoy it. I wonder if that's
a good movie.
An oversight. But
definitely Barry Keoghan for Best Little Creep. If there's a best weird little creep,
he's got that
year,
on lock.
He's winning every year. But
no
this
spoilers, but yes, he's got a lead on this year and years past.
Yeah, I mean, but like both Green Knight and Druig in 1 year, Hollywood's finest weird little creep.
All-time creep performance in the Killing of a Sacred Deer.
He's Hollywood's best. He's Hollywood's premier. Now that Dano is sort of aging out, he's taking over as Hollywood's premier weird little creep.
In many ways.
The Batman kind of a weird little creep passing of the torch in some ways.
So let's see. So does that mean I've freed up a vote, but I already voted for Last Duel. So
but you freed up your Lin-Manuel vote. So.
Yeah. So it's either but I can't vote for Last Duel twice. So
you're right.
I put in the vote for Maggie Gyllenhaal for Lost Daughter just for such a confident debut, and she seems to have like a good voice and good eye right out of the gate, which I really appreciate. And honestly, like of the remaining one, I'd go Annette over Nightmare Alley.
I mean, these 4 that we've nominated, I haven't moved a single one of my vote. These were my 4 picks. So do I get
if
one
you would
more?
go you have an extra Nightmare Alley. I would also Guillermo del Toro.
I would go Annette over Nightmare Alley.
Let's do it. Let's YOLO. This is definitely
wow.
If we can get more people to watch Annette and just
you're not just doing this because I'm on the show, right?
No, I liked Annette.
It's good.
I liked Annette. It was like if a different band had written the music, I would love Annette. It was
this movie would not exist if a different band had written.
I know, but sometimes the Sparks songs were like, all right. Thank you, Sparks. You're traveling around the world. I understand.
You really get it on the 15th
maybe
time
kept
they
it out of my top 15 or
20,
but I did love the performances. And I mean, obviously, it's a fascinating and weird and imaginative and interesting movie. So,
I love what we ended up with: Hamaguchi, Villeneuve, Bravo, Campion, and Carax for Annette. I never know whether to pronounce the consonants in French, but
I don't know. I'm guessing Leo Carax. I don't know.
All visual wonders of film. So I'm super happy with what we came up with.
Yeah, I think that's a good group.
And sorry, Spielberg. You'll
win the thing.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. All right, we move on to the big dog. Best Picture.
The biggest chunk of them all.
Yeah. So best picture is Dune
on the big board.
It's Dune and the rest.
Wow.
I didn't vote for Pig, but the more I talk about it, really the only thing I don't like about Pig is the random chef's fight club scene. I feel like that's like a holdover from a different movie.
It does stand out, a little bit.
But otherwise is impeccable. So I could just slide a vote from, say, I think I voted for West, and I voted for Benedetta just because I wanted to talk about Benedetta, but I already got to talk about Merovingian Pope, so I'm fine sliding one vote over for Pig.
I'll slide one over too because I don't think Nightmare Alley's got a shot here, so I'll slide my vote over from Nightmare Alley to Pig.
Nice.
Well, there you go. Okay, so clean sweeps for Pig and Dune. Other things of note, let's see. Riders of Justice, I mean, to me, it's it's my favorite of the year. Such a fresh, original concept that's so much more heartfelt and interesting than you think.
Didn't I put that one up?
I put that one up.
I thought I put that one up. Let me look.
Let's give it
to if I didn't, then I will. Oh no, I didn't. But nobody cares about French Dispatch except me here. So
no, I like French Dispatch. Yeah.
Well, I was the only one who put up French Dispatch, so I was saying I would move my French Dispatch vote over to Riders of Justice.
No, don't move that because I think I voted. I had a West Side Story or Red Rocket. I just want people to check that one out. So I will take that and move it over to French Dispatch. I don't think Wes Anderson should be penalized for making his movie that he's trying to make in his head over and over again. I think
Because those are my four. Those top four: Pig, French Dispatch, Drive My Car, and Dude.
Yeah.
I'm putting mine in for Nightmare Alley.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
I
Okay.
really like that movie. If we're putting
Wait,
that
I thought,
in.
damn, I thought Murrell didn't have a shot. That's why I moved.
Well, you did Pig, right?
right.
you can
well,
still
Pig
take
is
it off
four,
for
Pig.
so
You can
I'm
still
moving
take Pig
my-
off.
I'm taking
Take
mine
Pig
off
off
Pig, and I'm
and
going
put it
back
Wow,
to Nightmare
okay.
Alley.
Yeah.
I've said it. I said it yesterday, but I just can't get into Carnival Core. It's just not an aesthetic I respond to.
I
Then watch
just
the
wanted
second half of
more.
the movie.
I just wanted
You might
more
like it more.
Cooper Blanchett. I feel like we kind of get cheated of
Teased.
all of our Cooper Blanchett development.
So
And
the chat's
make
yelling at us, so
the-
we should pause to address. Bradley Cooper says, "No Spider-Man, no way home."
no Spider-Man, no way home.
And
It was in my 10 favorites of the year last year. It's just I every year everyone's just like last year's movie sucked. It's like that has been the case many years, but like I honestly think that 2021 was an exceptional year for movies. Most years I think I could put Spider-Man No Way Home on here and like give a full-throated defense of it for being on the top 5, but like there were, for me, like when I was putting my list together, there were easily 20 movies that could have been on my top 10 list. I think that 2021 was one of the better years for movies that there has been. And I would say that like if you saw 6 movies and said this was the worst year for movies, maybe see more than 6 movies. And then say that it was the worst year for movies. Cause like, that's the other thing. It's like, I see people's like 2021 sucked for movies. And then they're like, well, what did you see? And they're like, I saw Eternals and Spider-Man. And like, there's usually one like at French Dispatch and Black Widow, and they all sucked. It's like, well, watch 10 other ones, and then because it was a great year for movies.
I think No Way Home is probably the pinnacle of the remembering some guys genre. Like I like as if reference movies go, that's how to do it. It's got context. It's fun. It's not entirely reliant on Easter eggs. It's got its own sort of personality, whatever. It's a good movie, but I don't know. There are limits to how much I'm ever going to enjoy the remembering some guys genre.
Well, and there was no Tupac.
Remembering guys to like, something like Pig or French Dispatch or Drive My Car. Just like I'm never going to enjoy remembering guys as much as going to Arrakis for the first time and experiencing that, Right.
I love remembering guys. I
had the best
remembering
guys.
times of the year remembering guys last year.
Dune was my remembering guys, where it's like, oh my god, that's Gurney Halleck reading the Orange Catholic Bible.
It's a different kind of remembering guys. That's true.
I'm listening to Dune in an audiobook, and it has even more cemented my admiration for the movie, because when I'm on the 20th minute of the meeting between Baron Harkonnen and Fade Routha, and they're still talking about the same thing, I'm like, they did a great job adapting this movie.
Wow. They did. They captured the dream like fugue state that you enter when you read the book, but they made it a little better.
This is what Josh Brolin was so upset about.
Yeah. So
gonna take this impossible book, make something out of it.
Did he have a shirt on, or did he not have a shirt on?
I believe he's shirted.
Oh, well, then he's not that serious. Brolin is serious when he does the Instagram rant with no shirt.
Yeah.
Well, then finally, Jess Kuo writes, Coda, which has a good chance of winning, only has 1 vote. I didn't vote for it. I think we talked about it in our Honest Trailer commentary. Like, it's good. It's just like super conventional, but it's a good example of that. I just thought that there were movies that did something more interesting and original, even though it was a perfectly greatly executed version of that story. I just don't, to me, originality or the unexpected matters more for me for Best Picture than like this kind of movie executed.
Well, I'll tell you, like
really
the performance
well.
of Coda.
That was my
that's my take on why Coda didn't get a vote, even though I really enjoyed it.
The performances in Coda are really good. It's a good movie. It's got great performances, but I do feel like the conventionality in some ways is holding it back. You're watching these great actors give their all into this very tropey, familiar kind of writing and storytelling, and like that was a little frustrating to me.
Yeah.
Like I wish the movie was a little like messier and more idiosyncratic and more of its own animal, as opposed to keeping to the coming of age family drama so tightly. But it is doing a good job of being that. Like it's a well-told story.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming speaking to the Dans here, that you haven't seen Riders of Justice, because I can't imagine either of you would watch this film and not want it to be one of the best pictures.
I haven't, I'm sorry to say.
Can you take Lon and I's word for it? Because I really want our audience to check this out and have
it's
more
on
people to
Hulu
talk
now
about it
as
with.
well, I believe, right?
Listen, you gifted me with 2 nominations for a net, so I'm happy to give a vote to Riders
Yeah.
of Justice.
That's
in
right.
return.
Quid pro quo, baby. That's how SJU works.
That's how the Academy really works.
That's how the
It is
Academy
on
does
Hulu.
actually
It is
work.
on Hulu, folks. Check it out.
Check it out. Okay, so now with one
Showdown.
slot remaining, we have 2 votes for West Side Story, which, you know, as far as best picture goes, we think about every aspect of the film.
Oh, wait, can I pull my vote from Drive My Car and add it to The French Dispatch?
Yeah, I think you can do that. I'm
Because
okay with that. If so, we've got ourselves an Academy Awards.
If so, that
at
puts us
that.
over the top.
Boom. Yeah, I really
Wow.
like the French
Yeah.
Dispatch.
And look at that, French
he's
Dispatch
just-
getting through.
Yeah,
Go
this
up.
is
Wow.
I would love to watch all these films multiple times. This is great.
That's
We
a
have
good lineup, man. That's
Pig,
a good
French
lineup.
lineup.
Dispatch,
Movies.
Dune, Riders of Justice. Check it out. Thank me later. And Nightmare Alley, which, you know what? Fine, I'll put aside the Carney thing.
I mean,
I've seen the movie. I like it. And yes,
amazing. The production design, the
production design.
sets, the look of it is amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
immaculate. Like Kate Blanchett's office is like, I could just
Ugh.
live in that movie scene
Mm.
forever.
he probably has a recreation of that in his house.
And
I feel like,
why wouldn't you?
yeah,
Yeah.
he lives in a goth castle for that was from
Yeah, I
the Playboy
mean,
Mansion.
The moment
Gothic
Bradley Cooper
Castle?
steps into
Yeah.
the like hall, you know, like the Hall of Mirrors or whatever, going through that, it's like that's why you go see a Guillermo del Toro.
Well, sweet. I think what do we have in common with the Academy? Just Dune,
2,
and
Dune
Nightmare
and
Alley.
Nightmare
Dune
Alley,
and Nightmare Alley
Yeah.
out of these, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so some overlap, but not too much. And obviously, if we could expand this to 10 films like the Academy does, this would be easy. Come on, not even a challenge. So there you have it.
Yeah.
There's
Fairly
our
inconvenient.
nominations for the Oscars. Please let us know, as you have been doing all show in the chat, what you agree with, what you don't. Should it be Spider-Man's year to sweep? Sorry, not on this channel. Even though we all
Not any of the people involved in the movie. Spider-Man.
just Spider-Man.
Just
The
the
concept of
Oscar
Spider-Man.
goes to
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
The IP awards. But we're not done yet, believe it or not, because Lon and Dan, and I didn't come up with any. Maybe Danielle, do you have any original awards that you'd like to present?
I did. I didn't put down nominees. I can say them as we go.
Okay, so Lon is going to start because he's got one that he would like to share
Well,
this year and the next.
This year was really the birth of a new film genre, which I have dubbed the Red Notice, out of its most notable inclusion. So to define a Red Notice, to me, it straddles. It's an action film, it's an adventure film, it's a heist film, like a caper film. It's a comedy, but it's not committing in any of these directions. It's all of them and none of them at once. You're on a globe-trotting international adventure. You've got a cast of 3 to 5 characters, all of whom are played by pretty well-known, established celebrities. You got a lot of like green screen, and you got a lot of banter. It's like it's an action, banter, back to more action, interrupt for some quips. It's like that kind of mode. So the year's most Red Notice film, I would say, is of course Netflix's Red Notice. I would say the year's best Red Notice film would be Ryan Reynolds in Free Guy. Now, a cast member from Red Notice does not have to be in a film for it to be a Red Notice.
But it doesn't hurt if Ryan Reynolds or Gal Gadot's in your movie.
Yeah.
You might be in a Red.
Rock and Ryan
Rock
Reynolds.
is technically also in Free Guy. So
Yeah.
Rock is all, and The
Yeah.
Rock's Jungle Cruise, also a notable 2021 Red Notice. Also
Yeah.
a
But you
noted-
can have something like Uncharted, which is clearly a Red Notice, but it stars Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland.
That's Tom Holland and
Sure.
Mark Wahlberg's take on a Red Notice, but it's
Interesting.
still very clearly a Red Notice film. And then I would note 2 more honorary Red Notice awards. Ghostbusters Afterlife kind of introduces our first Red Notice subgenre, what I will dub the Amblin. These are Red Notices that are aimed at family or young audiences as opposed to adults. And then I would also recognize F9, which wins our first Thurber Prize, named for Red Notice director Ross and Marshall Thurber, for significant contributions to the Red Notice genre. The Fast films came before Red Notice, but really helped to define what would later become the Red Notice.
yes.
we've talked off camera about some proto Red Notice films like Central Intelligence.
Yes, well, Central Intelligence, a Ross and Marshall Thurber rock collaboration that definitely informed the development of the Red Notice. Yeah.
So here's my question. I think these would be too comedy though. Like 21 Jump Street. Does that count as a Red Notice, or are those just straight up comedies?
This is where it gets like, there are like the Fast and Furious franchise is a good example of not technically a Red Notice, because I think they lean too decidedly into action. And so that's where I would say the Lord Miller films, to me, those guys are actually writing jokes.
They're doing comedy, yeah.
Comedy situations. And so it's more into the comedy. You really need like a Free Guy, where it's like perfectly straddling all of these different modes, but it's not definitively any one of them.
Would the case be made that 22 Jump Street is a Red Notice?
Yeah, right. No, I definitely think that there are franchises.
Well, related, I think
into Red Notices eventually.
A light sci-fi Red Notice was Men in Black International. Was
yes,
definitely a Red
Notice. That's a Red Notice. That is such a Red Notice.
That's an exact.
That wasn't enough of anything to be anything.
Exactly. That's what a Red Notice is.
A Red Notice is distinctly four things. A Red Notice is distinctly Men in Black International was distinctly nothing.
It was like 12 genres, and it's trying to find. It's like triangulating, like politicians, where it's like,
it was like watching a director paint a portrait of a movie in real time, and then it's over, and you're like, oh, that was a movie.
Okay. So I think it was a proto Red Notice. They hadn't quite nailed it yet for Men in Black International.
And then we also talked about, I think this year is interesting. We're starting to get our first where the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're almost like, we're getting close to them. Shang-Chi is about as close as the MCU has gotten to a Red Notice. There are a few. It's not it's still a little more action oriented. They don't go to like I also should mention, Dan, one way to know you're watching a Red Notice, or a big clue, they go to a fancy gala event in formal wear, and you got like a scene where the actors are getting out of fancy cars, like in their tuxedos, putting on their glasses, walking in to like a museum or like an exhibition hall. If that happens, pretty good chance.
If you walk into a museum wearing a tuxedo, you might be right.
If your father left you a curio in your possession that may contain the map to an artifact, you might be in a Red Notice.
Yes.
So National Treasure, I imagine, would be a proto Red Notice.
Bro, National Treasure, yes. All of those,
especially too.
Any of those globe-trotting caper, we got to get these like mini missions. It's broken up into like, we got to go get this, and then we got to go get these, and we got to go here, and then we got to go to Cairo, and then we got to go to Tokyo. Like that's all in the Red Notice family.
Is Ocean's 8 a Red Notice?
I mean, the Ocean films are more decidedly like
pretty solidly in the heist thing.
They're heist movies.
Yeah. So if the heist were just one sequence in a larger adventure, then yes.
Like one that gave me I had to think about a while earlier this year was the 355, that spy movie with Jessica Chastain. Because it is like very formulaic, and like it is kind of right in the middle. They do kind of lean heavily into spy espionage, but I don't know. Mike, it's right on. It's a semi-Red Notice.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's not a Red Notice. But I'm not the expert here.
Matan Valensky with a good question. Lon, is a Red Notice good or bad? Is it a good thing to be
this has come up a lot, where people assume that I'm saying it's a bad movie if it's a Red Notice. It's a genre, so you can have good or bad. Like I don't think Free Guy is a bad movie.
I think Free Guy was a good Red Notice.
Right,
I like Free Guy,
but it is a Red Notice. Like I don't think the movie Red Notice is good, but that doesn't mean there aren't examples of Red Notices that I also think are good.
I gave Red Notice a positive review. I liked it. I just love it. I liked it.
Where you and I differ.
Dan, question. Did you watch the follow-up that happened on WWE Raw?
Cleopatra's Eggs
there was a follow-up.
Cleopatra's Eggs made an appearance on
that. Still
McMahon had
Is it canonical?
Eggs.
Yes.
Wow. Which is funny because the night that happened was supposed to be a tribute to The Rock because it was the anniversary of his debut, and they had the Red Notice egg, and The Rock did not show up, completely ghosted. I don't think he even had a package where he was like, "Hey Vince, thanks." Like a little TV thing. He just ghosted him.
Wow.
They should have sent the CGI Rock from Scorpion King to make a cameo. Dan, you have some original categories you'd like to present.
I did. I had a couple. We can try to come up with a quick consensus. There was one I had called Best Adam Driver, and the nominees were Adam Driver in House of Gucci, Adam Driver in Annette, Adam Driver in The Last Duel, and then Adam Driver in the Burberry ad where he turns into a centaur at the end.
Yeah.
I think all equally deserving of our
just a horse's ass.
Well, you know what's got my vote, so
it's got to be the horse. It's got to be.
I don't know what these Burberry think. I grew up on a beach with horses and not running around shirtless like a bunch of Nancy boys swimming in the ocean. Anyway, I think this is just as good a work as Adam Driver's done. I don't know if we want to watch it. It's like a minute-long ad, but I will note at the end of this advertisement, he has become Centaur.
Yeah, it's like that Old Spice ad where it's like, look up, look down. Now I'm a horse.
It's like that dream William Shatner had that one time.
It is. I think we will soon see the merging between driver and horse. But yes, I think this is really and non-speaking work. I would add, not a line of dialogue. I think
he's doing the VO now. Is it? Do you say at the end?
Well,
like,
no,
Burberry.
He's not speaking dialogue on camera. I should say,
Sure.
And yet you get everything. You get everything. There we go.
There it is.
You get everything that you need to know across in that one ad. So
I think it's the horse ad by a mile. Even though I respect his work and other things, this had an effect on the world, myself included, that made us stand up and say, "Wow, Adam Driver sure is a horse in this one." I gotta give it
only because the Del Taco Saturday Night Live I'm all out of cash sketch was 2020, not 2021. I will vote for the Burberry ad, but. Yeah. Oh man, I'm all out of cash. That's the winner. That deserves to win maybe every year.
I had
anything else.
This is a 2-nominee category. It was best director that called Sam Elliott a bitch, and the nominees are Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog, and then I threw in Clint Eastwood probably just because I imagine at some point he did. This is
get back on the horse.
Yeah, this was Jane. I love that she spelled it out too, like he's a preschooler.
Look, what can I say? I'm sorry, he was being a little bit of a bitch.
Oh, I haven't seen this clip.
I'd like to notice, I believe later that night or the next night, she completely all of that goodwill was sucked out of her, like a Dementor came through, and just the words from her mouth sucked all of that internet goodwill. But that was a nice 24 hours for Jane Campion. And then I also had an award for worst discourse, which was the nominees were Licorice Pizza, since it came out, Coda for the last 5 days, the Snyderverse, formerly known as the Snyder Cut, and now and just carrying over from 2017, The Last Jedi.
Sure.
The discourse continues.
The discourse continues.
We never get away from that discourse.
I mean, I've stayed blissfully unaware of the discourse in general, but especially I don't know what's going on with Coda or Licorice Pizza. So you'll have to decide this one for me, Dan.
Licorice Pizza, there's two things.
There's two things.
I don't. Can I preface this with I don't care?
Yes.
Licorice Pizza was like, there's those scenes with John Michael Higgins where he's speaking to his Japanese wife in a very offensive Japanese voice. That was a very divisive scene that has been argued about, and we don't need to get into it here. And then there's also just the age difference, and is it appropriate to make this kind of nostalgic, sweet movie that's about a age difference that's this significant?
Gotcha.
Which, I think I had issues with both of them, but I don't come down hard on either one of them. I kind of was looking forward to when the movie came out to like that discussion being had. But generally, the reason it got the worst discourse nomination is if you bring it up, and I've seen this from like blue checked film critics, like people that you would think would kind of be above this sort of thing will be like, you're like, I had a couple issues with Licorice Pizza. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you need Disney movies and that's it. Like, I'm sorry that you're not capable of understanding the nuance of a director like Paul Thomas Anderson. Why don't you run away and watch Spider-Man again and leave the adult movies for the adults? It's like, okay, well, that's kind of an interesting way to respond to somebody bringing up what I think are some legitimate conversation points, but that's fine. And that's just generally been Licorice Pizza for the last 3 months.
If this video and things can let people realize, though I'm sure if you watch this long, you get it, is like there's more than one way to analyze a film. There's lots of ways,
many different ways.
Slice it and dice it, and your
that's why art.
That's why art.
I hate to both sides anything, but I do feel like in cases like this, it like people sort of pick their sides on a lot of these movies. I think award season does a lot of this. Social media does a lot of this, where it like creates these battles, and it's like movies don't like Licorice Pizza is a good example of like, there's stuff I like in Licorice Pizza. There's stuff I thought was pretty bad in Licorice Pizza. And like, most movies are like that. Like, it's all somewhere in the middle. You don't have to pick a side and then you're fighting the people on the other side every day. It's like that. There was a tweet yesterday or a few days ago where a guy was like, Drive My Car is the worst piece of crap I've ever seen. And if you like this, that's not what movies are about. It's like, you can not like it, but that seems unreasonable to me. Like, it doesn't have to be this kind of fight. It could just be like, Drive My Car, not for me. I got a little bored. I wanted to watch something else. Like, that's fine.
And the award season thing is kind of behind the Coda, which is like ever since Coda won at the Producers Guild Awards, and then won again at Writers Guild, like all of a sudden now has a legitimate shot, it seems, at becoming Best Picture. And so as soon as it seemed like an actual legitimate Best Picture contender, out came the people that was like, oh, it's going to be wonderful when we look back and see that a Hallmark movie won Best Picture in 5 years. It's like, well, you didn't really have that opinion until yesterday when it seemed like, it just seems like people are sort of like,
we were talking about that yesterday.
I need to speak up against the thing that people like, or vice versa.
Yeah.
It's like,
we were saying that
it's nothing new, but it's also a very tiring.
Yeah, and it's like Coda and Power of the Dog, they're not enemies. Like, it wasn't like they were making Power of the Dog and Jane Campion is like, oh right, this is gonna really stick it to those Coda bastards. Like, they were just making a movie. Like, you don't
it's West Side Story.
You don't have to pit them against one another like that. It doesn't make any sense. It's totally removed from the context of what they're both about.
Coda is gentrifying really the old dirty West.
So I guess we all lose when it comes to the discourse. Yes. Zeno R writes, I hope Don't Look Up wins Best Picture because I want chaos. Yeah,
that would be the Joker moment of film Twitter. Don't Look Up won Best Picture.
Oh, man.
All right.
That's a green book.
Danielle, you had a category?
All right. So my first category, I'm going to switch these around. So first one, this is just, there's only one, this is a legacy award. Studio Best Dunked On by Its Own Productions. And that goes to Warner.
Of course.
Obviously, that goes to Warner Brothers. And then second.
Wait, I imagine that's for Space Jam 2 and Matrix 4, both just like ridiculing Warner Brothers throughout its entire runtime.
Yes. And then the
also
second.
just releasing all their movies for free on the internet. Like, there you go. You're not gonna,
pissing off losing Christopher Nolan. Yeah, everything.
You weren't going to go see the little things. Just watch it. It's fun.
Yeah. And then, because I got to do it, Best Performance by Someone Who Has Wrestled. And in that category,
David Arquette, Scream 4 or Scream 5.
That's next year. We have obviously John Cena for Suicide Squad.
Sure.
We have The Rock for all the movies, and then Batista is in twice for both Dune and for Army of the Dead. And so those are our three nominees.
He really carried Army of the Dead as a guy who could barely open his eyes or close his mouth.
I will say this: if we're including all of John Cena's work to date as Peacemaker, I feel like you have to throw this to him. But if we're only including the film, I really feel like his best work as Peacemaker was the show.
Yeah. I was going to say this like when we were talking briefly about No Way Home, is like I enjoyed Suicide Squad heads and tails above No Way Home this year. If we're throwing in a comic book movie, I thought Suicide Squad was just like the most fun comicsy version of that idea. And if that came out like 5-10 years ago, it would have absolutely blown my mind and been my favorite movie of all time. It's only the peak superhero saturation levels where I'm like, wow, James Gunn, he really did it again. Another great job. Yeah, solid work. But I really, really like that movie a lot. So there you go. Wait, do we have a winner? It's John Cena, right?
I don't know. I think I'd go Batista.
I mean, on the films alone, I'd go Batista. It's only if we're also throwing in like the extended Peacemaker universe that I'm throwing in.
I think we got to Dune for the Dune's sake. I think we got to go.
Yeah, Batista. But he'll be more of a factor in part 2.
That's true. Beast for Bond will be. He's got more to do next time.
Yeah.
That's true.
So there you have it, guys. We did it. We did the Academy's job for them. I don't think as many people will watch this as they do the Oscars, but it'll be close.
not as far away anymore. We should have gotten DJ Khaled.
Yeah.
DJ Khaled.
Another.
Thank you for hanging out with us, Dan. We miss you every day. We miss you dearly. But we can see you pretty much constantly at your channel, Dan Murrell Movies. Subscribe to the Patreon, watch the YouTubes, and hopefully it won't be as long before we see you around these parts again.
I hope not. Please, I'm around. I'm here.
Come
I'm
back.
only here.
I'm only here. We're all just trapped in these
place
boxes.
I am.
We allegedly have a studio opening this year at some point, but it keeps getting pushed. And hey,
I was wondering about that. I didn't want to ask, but it's like, did they build your homes in the office, or are you all still at home? I didn't know how it works.
Actually, there's a box or two of yours.
Continuity. Like, yeah, you got a box there, Dan. Well, when it reopens, I mean, it is open, but Brian, you know, what's the studio looking like these days?
We're working on it very quickly, so you should hear stuff soon. I'm going there tomorrow to work on it. So
great. I mean, LA like just opened up, like, you know, no restrictions. And I'm sure we'll be back under lockdown a month from now, and so get used to it, get comfy. But we're trying to get back in the studio. So thank you all. Thank you again. Danielle, Lon, Dan, what a treat. I think we came up with much better answers. And if you guys watch Annette, Riders of Justice, and the horse ad, I think we've done our job.
We can fade into the corn. Our work is done.
I'm just going to walk into the sea. There's nothing left.
Play some catch with Ray Liotta. We're done.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Great to see you. Talk soon. Bye-bye.